Okay, hello. Oh, I have the room now. So let's start because I have a long session and I know that the lunch break is much more valuable for some people. So hopefully you stay with me until then. So I am at this conference and the third or fourth time, I even don't recall right now. And I'm truly happy to be here and to actually navigating all the rooms of the conference and getting bigger and bigger rooms. So that's enjoyable that you run this Epson conference for 15 years now. Let's try it with AI agents, and I want to show you some behind stuff about the chatbot, not just exactly basic stuffs. So my agenda is a bit to revive Gemini and the big picture, because Google naming convention, I heard that some confusions are for some people, and I will go into some capabilities recently released, and we will see the agentic era, which is now around the door, or actually it's in production at some companies, and then I will have demos and we will see it. My name is Marton. I'm Hungarian, but I'm from Romania. Hey, can you dim the lights? Because the room asked me to dim the big lights. And I'm part of the Google developer programs. And my first one of the public sessions were actually in Krakow when I was appointed a GDE. So I'd always love to be back into this Epsom city and so on. And I actually do the back end of an email marketing platform, and that's my day job, but I do a lot more than that. Yeah, so I want to set the stage. I don't want to use, let's say, Wikipedia text, but it's always very important to understand that the large language models are not the source of the truth. At least we should understand this now, and hopefully at some point this will be no longer true. We had these statistics this year that ChatGPT is being used more and so on, so we see a change on this. Also, as a developer, we need to understand that we are transforming. We are transforming a code into a UI, we are transforming into a code into an action and so on. And with the APIs and agentic capabilities, now we can do amazing capabilities. And actually, it's a new way to interact with the technology. I see that now with MCP and A2A protocols, we live the era when we go from XML to JSON and now to RPC and so on. But let's go much more into technology. So the big picture is that Google has some consumer products and there are the developer parts. And you may have for your parents or on your phones the Gemini chat app, which you can use generally stuff, and I would not recommend to run the code part there because that's the consumer app for it. Also, there is Gemini Live, which is actually a multi-interface with video and microphone. You can ask about surroundings, recipe in the kitchen, and so on. I would classify this as for our parents, just to easily understand. And there is Notebook LM, which is much more for the office work, where you add source of information, you create recipes, and you have a long way to keep those conversations with your data, and you can go back to 5 months later to some researching topic as done. And there are the workspace environment for companies and all the additions for that. There are the open source part, or let's say local models where you can download and run on your own machine, like the Gemma family. And now recently Google released the agent development kit as an open source component, which is on GitHub. And then there is the professional environment, the cloud, and the Gemini, and all the stuff. There is an AI studio, which is outside of the cloud, and I will showcase that. And there is inside the cloud, there is the Vertex AI, which covers the professional enterprise features and so on. Good. In a nutshell, we had 1.5, we have now in production 2.0, and now you have 2.5 in preview. But the changes I want to highlight here is that what I love is that the 2.5 increased the output token. With 8000K, I had around 200 lines of code as a good output. With the 65K, I have the entire file, or actually 5 files. directly output into the agent, and the capabilities to actually generate this kind of material change the way how developers react to technology. Also, this preview flag is still there, but Google I/O is next week, so hopefully stay tuned in a way for it. There are some other capabilities that native image output that I did not put here because they are still in, let's say, professional in preview, and hopefully they will be launched next. Imagine 3 is on the top to actually showcase you image generation from the text fonts like Stable Diffusion or Flux. You can try out with different prompts and so on. It's very awesome. You should actually give it a try if you have never tried this out and so on. Let's see how we can run a preview as in a professional environment. Please raise your hand if the font is okay, because this is a really big screen and should be fine. Okay, good one. So in this prompt, you are a skilled digital car restorer. Your task is to take an image of a car and restore it to perfect condition without altering its original market. So I resell cars, and the rest of the prompt is actually enhancing this kind. So I have an image with a car which is not in perfect condition, and I want to put it on the market to sell it. And what can the AI do for me? Well, it can fix it. And I can quickly put the announcement on the site as well. Normally, you have previously seen sessions how to generate in different sarcasm messages and so on to order to sell this car and so on. When I give them, I want to sell this car, so I was surprised to see what come up with this image, and I run this for you. But this is the input, so it fixed a bit. It changed the surroundings, honestly, so it's not exactly the same surroundings, but it was really nice to see that today's technology is capable of doing this. Good. Veo 2. It's a way to actually generate from text and image, because you need to give a starting image, videos, up to 8 seconds. I don't want to guide into this. We have Tomek from Warsaw, and he actually compiled and put on YouTube this montage or whatever video, which is, you probably know, it's Warsaw, and it used the Veo 2 to actually make this movie in pieces. And it had a starting image, a prompt, and it actually made this image with the technology. And only in the browser, to let's say so, because if I have $100,000 to build out a professional crew, it would be the same effect as well. Good. Gemini 2. It's an open model, and I would say it's a local model because you can download it and run it. What's the trick here and why I'm showcasing you? Gemini 3 it can be run on a very low resources, like 1 GPU only, and try it out. It's surprisingly good, and this is the benefit of Gemini 3, and also the 140 languages that it supports. So it's one of the local models where you can actually converse, for example, in Polish or Asian languages naturally and so on. Good, but we are at the developer conference, so we need to work with the API. Well, here, let's talk about interfaces, because I already presented 2-3 interfaces, so now let's dive into the developer part. AI Studio Google.com is a way where you can access it free, and it gives you some resources to run for free, and also in a professional environment, like to grab an API key. You are not in cloud with this interface, and you have a lot of libraries. The Java version is the LangChain 4J, and who knows that today they released the 1.0 version? Did you see the notice? They released today the 1.0 version, so finally you can run in projects where you need the 5 nines of the system, because that's the releasing part. As I said, you have free up to 5 to 10 requests per minute. You have prompt management, you can save it. You have access to Gemini 3, you don't need to pay it with a resource for usage. And you have buttons to actually get code for the code itself, and it has also interfaces to enable tools and advanced settings and so on. Good. Let's see if I have this on I'm done with this group. Let's move. So this is the interface. It has also a white theme and so on, but in this nice room, it runs nice thing. And you can have on the left a lot of features, and you can dive out a lot of information. Good. Let's see the next one. Next one is inside the cloud, inside the Google Cloud, where you are, let's say, a professional customer, a company, and you have a billing attached. And here you are interacting with the technology with the service account key. But that's not only the one way to interact it. That's a private key, in a way, to understand it. You also can grab the API key, and the API key you grab can work also on this environment as well, so don't be confused. But there are two ways to interact with the technology. Of course, being the cloud, you have access to other models via the model garden, and with the cloud, you are actually interacting with the Google Cloud Vertex AI library, which is the Google Cloud's part for this feature. It has so much things. A trick we do at home is that we put all our colleagues from the company as members on a project. And they can access this interface in the cloud itself professionally. And the company pays not per seat, pays based on usage, because here is based on usage. So we don't need to buy 140 seats, we just need to pay how many requests they do and so on. You need to make the math if one is good or better than the other. What I like here, that there are prompt galleries. You can save prompts for your colleagues. You can and have other features, even Media Studio, which is the way to interface in a much more professional environment. It's there in the cloud itself. You can change here the models. You can see a lot the newest version, the 2.5, and the Media Studio. You can get here to generate images, generate voice, generate music, video, all these new stuffs which were recently added to the models itself. And Model Garden, you can access here, I think, Google models 102, Google models 54 other partner models, like Anthropic and so on. You can access it from one interface and from one billing model as well. Good. In a nutshell, so we have the consumers, let's say our parents, that's the simplest way how I say it. Then we have the developers. We can interact with AI Studio or with the API itself or to the Cloud Console, and Cloud Console is the enterprise way in order to consume this technology. The developers might be confused, but Google has one single SDK. So if you end up downloading something, you will use the same SDK, one SDK, and based on the API key, it will know where to route your system and so on. So if you just want to, at some point, to go from AI Studio to the cloud version, to the Vertex AI, you can just do that with a flag, like enable true and false. Good. Some other capabilities, which is developer capabilities. It's multimodal in and out, so you can have also image output and so on. I already mentioned this. Native tools, so you can add tools to it. Nowadays, more models add tools. Even Gemini 3 supports tooling, which is a nice addition. And one of the benefits of the Google model compared to competitors is that it has long context length. So 1 million, 2 million tokens is one of the industry leaders on this matter itself. And nowadays, recently they added the thinking mode and budget driven. So you are able to set a token level, what budget should the thinking tool should proceed. Why? Because when you enable thinking, the model responds in a bit, let's say, slower, because it runs the thinking phase in an iterative way for you. Spatial understanding is something I will hopefully demo later, or at least show you. For those who never implemented the function call, I need to say that there is the Gemini ecosystem, there is the user prompt. The prompt reaches Gemini, then there is a trigger that I have function calls. The function calls creates the parameters, creates the statements, writes the input for the functions. It goes back to your code, so it's outside of the Gemini ecosystem. Your code, my code, executes the function. This is very important to understand. And you can, for example, this way fetch or present live information for the Gemini, and then my code signals back to the Gemini that, hey, this is the output I am giving to you, and you should create a response based on this. And then the user sees the output itself. There are some out-of-the-box tools, like Google Search tool, and you can add it to the system. So if I go back to this AI Studio here, what is the weather in Krakow today? Run? There is some output. It might be incorrect. I need to enable the Google search option here. And what is the weather in Krakow today? Today. Hopefully they will understand. So what we have May 15, because of the tool it used Google search and so on, and we have the temperatures and also the citations where this information is coming from. And for example, the easiest way I explain is that if you want to ask for a soccer results from yesterday or something recently, you might ask the LLM, but it won't give you accurate results. But if you run with a tool, and Google Search is a capability here to run with Google Search, what ends up in Google Search, like a recent earthquake or something like that, you have the capability to run this with the Google Search tool. There is also a code execution tool. I don't have a demo for it, but simple codes you can execute directly without having access to the code. There is spatial understanding. Hopefully I will have time to run that demo, but we will see that. Essentially, if you give an image, it returns you the mask where those objects are, and you can further do crops and so on for it. And that example you have as a click. This exact screen is a click prepared for you, so you don't need to prepare anything for it. And we end up into the agentic era. So Agent Development Kit is something Google recently put on the market. It's open source. It features like you should code agents like Google, and the only dependency is actually a model. You can run it on your laptop, deploy anywhere, any cloud, any private cloud, even Hetzner, some people I heard they are using it. And you can orchestrate in various modes agents and so on. And it has connectors with a lot of market opportunities right now, like Open API tools. I often make OpenAI, but it's Open API tools, and supports Toolbox, MCPs, and agent-to-agent protocol for it. The syntax is very reduced. So what actually, when I first heard about this framework, I see that I had to build 20 files for agent before. Now it's only a file, and it does amazing stuff. You can go to much more longer, but it has. So technically, you have always the function tools, you have built-in tools, third-party tools, Agent Garden, which is on Google Cloud, MCP, OpenAPI, and agent-to-agent protocol. And there are various ways to interact with the agents nowadays. And one of the industry leaders here is, let's say multiple options are here, is LangGraph. It's not, ADK is not only for Gemini. It has a light LLM class, and whatever supports light LLM, which supports almost all the recent models, you can run any models with it, and you can even combine. You can run a Gemma model locally, or you can run Olama and so on for it. One differentiator of ADK is that it uses LLM to decide agent routes. So in the LangGraph, you had to construct the graph, and it was a strict model, and it took a lot of time. I've been there. I've been using the AutoGen of Microsoft, the first version, and it was a week to actually set up what I wanted, like if I wanted more than 10 steps and so on. Now I just need to make that there are 10 steps, and the model figures out most accurately the interface for it. Short and long memory is a feature. There is guardrails, like always we want to make sure that it's used on intention, or it's not used unintended for it, and you have a way to actually add prompts and even classes which you want to feed to a validation model later to analyze the response before showcasing for the user as well. And there is someone asked me always a question about Llama Index, but honestly, I don't know much about Llama Index, but I know that when it was released, it was mostly on RAC Knowledge Assistant. I don't know if someone uses Llama Index, maybe talk to me because I want to know more about its state and so on. The ADK you can use as a CLI environment, you can use on a web UI. Currently they ship as an Angular web UI, which is another open source way. You can run it as a server, and primarily it's Python based, so it interacts with any Python resources, but all the other tools let you to actually connect with a lot of nodes. Let's say I have lots of time, so let's see what I want to show you. So this is the documentation welcome page for Agent Development Kit. I show you the menu here itself because it has so many pages and links and examples of it. So you should try to figure out from the documentation itself examples for it. You may ask, when is the Java version coming? I don't have an answer, but I know that Google I/O is next week. So stay tuned. The GitHub version gives you a sneak of what we need to add in order to run it, and this is the minimum example in order to get this running. So it's very condensed, the code. And in Java as well, with builder version, it will be very condensed for it. Let's see practical, because this is already a documentation. I don't need to zoom, right? Okay, yeah, I just want to confirm with you. So I prepared here files, actually one file. And I added here something from out-of-the-box feature, which is load web page tools. This is something offers the framework itself. And my instructions are very simple. You are a specialist in loading a web page. That's the only one. And I used 2.0 here. I could use 2.5 as well. Also, I added the inbuilt and out-of-the-box tool, Google Search. I added the built-in code construction, but in this demo won't use. And I added the BigQuery toolset. Well, this is an application integration toolset. And let's see, where is my... Yeah, this is where I need to show you. Google already provides you a lot of connectors. And if you are in the Google Cloud authorization authentication level, it's very straightforward to hook this up. Because in the code as well, you just need to actually tell here the... there is a connection, like, yeah, you need to... This is a named convention, the named convention. And the connection you need to set, and where is the location for that tool which you set up. And here you have some connectors for Google services, like Gmail, Google Drive, Google Sheets, and so on. And then you have for other applications. You can have here lots of applications already available for connecting with a couple of lines as so on. These are not MCPs. These are somehow mimicked MCPs. They have the same power as an MCP, but they are not running on the MCP protocol per se, to say. But it's very easy to hook it up to it. Good. Then you need to start, or you need to finalize with the root agent, and this is actually the running code. I had the model. I have here for the root agent, I used the most recent model. And description agent responsible for orchestrating multiple agents. You are an agent orchestrator, you can use agents. And I have here a BigQuery toolset, which get the tools. I don't know what those tools are, but probably create a table, run a query, and so on. And I have the other tools, which were the out-of-the-box tools. Let's see, where is my interface? Yeah, when you run ADK web, I also have a session DB in order to store it, persistent. So you will get this screen. And this was in a folder. So I created an agent named BigQuery toolset, and I added here an agent file and the permissions to actually connect to the Gemini itself. So I can select from here BigQuery toolset, and I can ask, what can you do? Hopefully the internet and everything now is working. So I can execute custom queries, search the web, write, execute, connect, find information using search. Good. I prepared the prompt, which hopefully I will over-abuse of the capability of the system. And I honestly say that hopefully it works because I over-abuse, this is too complicated prompt. So I want to fetch the GeeCON Krakow 2025 website, to locate 2000 edition, to find day 2 schedule, and to extract the agenda, propose the BigQuery table schema, create the table schema, extract the session, put in schema, and so on. I have some details. Don't ask me for confirmation. I don't want to ask me yes, 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 approve, approve. I want to go autonomous. I mean, it's not that fast. Figure out the task yourself. You can follow subdomains and fetch iframe contents. I don't know if the GeeCON website builder, I mean the developer is in the room, but there is a catch on the website which was hard for the Gemini to figure it out. Create your own data set and use batch BigQuery SQL inserts for faster processing. Well, this is a tricky one. I added and sometimes works, sometimes not honestly. So let's grab this and let's put it here. In the console, I don't have log enabled like the previous session where you've seen running everything, but it does something. So it will use the web agent to run something. It may make mistakes. It tried to actually, it apologizes now for it, and it didn't use the search tool. So that was, figure it out yourself using the search. I was expecting to use the search tool itself to go to Google to locate the websites. Well, this takes around 3 minutes to complete, honestly. Yeah, and so on. So I have here somewhere I saved the previous discussion because it's too long to actually run it. So it identified the search agent. We can click this, and you see here the information. You have here the response, what it figured it out with it, and then it located 2025. It did some queries, maybe it made the mistakes. And then, okay, it appears the schedule for day 2 is loaded from an iframe pointing to a different URL, and there is a 2015 left in the URL. So developer of GeeCON, maybe next year you switch that to 2026, because it may not be accurate this way. And that's the right URL, by the way, even if it missed the year and so on. It extracted, it created some tables. I suggested that it will create some tables. Let's see the query. It was an error. I was unable to create the BigQuery table because your dataset ID was not found. I asked click session in a table. It lists today's sessions for it. Where is my session? AI agents with Marton Kodok. It's there. And now I can say that create a data set and insert using batch BigQuery SQL statements. This will take a lot as well, but the data set name, let's make it GeeCON. Some permission issues. No, that's strange because it should create what it tries to execute. Let me see. Expected out application credentials. Something it did it. The connection is not valid for that. Well, that's strange. Yeah, it should be there because I run this exactly for that. So this is a glance of the agents and how you perform with ADK, some minimal agents, and you can grow big. And for example, if you end up developing your agents into your NCP collections, your code becomes much more less because you actually need to add only one tool set of it, like one integration into your code itself, and then you have access to all your tools for it. I have another use case which is very interesting to say for me. I was approached by a photographer that he has thousands of professional photos about wine bottles, and they need to load into an e-commerce website in order to sell the collection and so on. And even the photos, it were different angles and so on, so it was nice. But it also had front and back side of the bottle, but it was high detail photo quality. The files were super large. Let me show you. So this is one of the photos that they had, but if I zoom in, you see that it's high crisp information, and you see that the information is there. I was saying, okay, this is a good image. It's 25 megabytes per file. Let's do with Gemini, and let's resolve the task. Initial dry run produced 0 success. Well, I would say the technology is not prepared. I know that it can read text from images, but it's 0 success. I tried different models, 0 success. What could be the problem? Well, LLM works best with rectangle images. This was a tall image. Then I had to search, and I found out that image greater than 385 pixels is cropped into tiles. Maybe the tiles are not aligning correctly in a way. Each tile is then resized, upscaled to 768, and uses tokens. Yeah, that's just information. So I had to go into API. I find out some advanced stuff there that actually you can say to the API itself that your image resolution is low, medium, or high in a way. And this way you tell to the model that, hey, you should be much more careful with my image because I'm giving you a high quality image and so on. And results started to be better, but it wasn't the best. And this is when Gemini spatial understanding had come to our rescue in order to make this project working, because we have given the images to the Gemini, and we asked the prompt to give us back the segmentation masks, and it identified the body label and the neck label in order to crop the images further. And this information was like, this is the JSON which you see being returned. Even the mask as an image was inlined as a base 64 information, the coordinates. And the mask was accurate because it followed the curvature of the bottle itself. And we were able to extract or crop the images, the tall images. And then once the images were cropped, we can add the prompt that you are an expert in text extraction from images and extract information of all this information, 2 images or 3 images input, because we had also the neck label, front and back label, and the Gemini returned an information with all these as a raw text initially, and then we post-processed with another attempt to make it structured data and so on. So we end up having for the client a Google Drive document where we had the information that they inputted, some names, types, year, type of the wine, and information that they were ready to put into the description phase of it. It took 4 hours. So it amazed me when I started first that it may take 1 hour because I was just feeding all the information. I expected to be, oh, this is just put it there and run it, forget it. And then I had to do all these additional items, and I ended up doing in 4 hours. The actual run, initially I tested around 100, but the actual run for the entire data set was over the night, but the development time for me to figure it out, even if this hijack information is what's around 4 hours as well. Good. Conclusions. Let me see if I have more information here. Because I have more time, I show you this, and starter apps in the menu, and here you have spatial understanding. And this comes up with an interface to like a demo, but you can do it also from code itself. Upload an image, let's say my wine. You see you see, because this is X on the screen, like IMAX. And I need to show me the positions of the labels. And I want the segmentation, max labels. Send. You see? Main label, neck label. The tool is Google's one, so you can just fire up your laptop and use it. So I not created the tool and so on. And this saves you a lot of time in order to make accurate the information and so on. Good. Let's go back to conclusions. Enable the agentic era. You can delegate tasks to agents. Think your dev tasks as promptable. So whenever I put my hands on ADK, one of the out-of-the-box example to build an ADK agent itself, like a self-clone. Like, we should developers build our agents, not manually do it. Like, we have an agent creator, let's build the agent itself with it. So this, if you have your dev task promptable, you end up iterating yourself or iterating your agents as well. Good. How many people have tried out and run agents? Question for the room. Under 5 hands. You. My next question was who runs production agents, but I would expect that would be less than. So this book, this is a PDF document, is very good to explain you the basics of how an agent should behave. It's very agnostic, and you should read it because you will figure it out a lot of handful good information from this book itself. It's recently renewed. Yeah, here, the website is this one, and then you have the PDF, and you have diagrams explained in a lot of ways what an agent does and how it interacts and so on. I highly recommend to do that. Also, in this document, you will find the ways that the workflow of an agent might look alike when you end up running in complex scenarios, like single network supervisor, hierarchical custom, and so on. And it describes the interaction of this agent as well. So this is a must-have when you start your agent journey as well. Next one is a video and a tutorial and a GitHub, everything from Karl Weinmeister. I referenced the Cloud with Karl YouTube video itself. He created an agentic trading simulator, and he has actually only 3 parts of it. Like, it has the UI, which is a fast AI application, and it has an AlphaBot service. The AlphaBot service communicates with the risk guard, and only these two are actually creating that simulator where you have settings and knobs in order to make this service runnable and so on. And why I'm suggesting this, even if you are not in this financial or trading simulator, it has examples of the tools and technology how to build something such complex and so on. And this is a simulator, but imagine that if you would have access to the real data and so on, you could build out, let's say, Grafana understandable interfaces. I might not say trading simulator, but something like that. And it has really nice explanations in the video and the article as well, like how complex is the routing of the information that the agent itself decides how it runs. And you may have heard about A2A with the agent-to-agent protocol that's on top of the NCP, and it's like a universal way, I have to say it much more simpler. You know that Google is looking for a robots TXT file when it finds a domain to describe the domain itself. The agent-to-agent protocol, it looks for a well-known subpath, and if the well-known subpath contains a file for itself, it automatically figures out that I can interact with that technology. So we may end up, for example, the GeeCON website may produce a well-known interface that it has an NCP of the GeeCON website, and Google might figure out that I can add this tool into my agent without the developer to add information for it, just by asking, I want to interact with the GeeCON website, like it's the future. I want to interact with the GeeCON website. Even if GeeCON doesn't provide, let's say, public API in a way for it. But it could expose the well-known description for its services. Okay, where is the mouse? And the third one is the programmer's choice. This is a code lab, which means that it's full code, and it's an action for the ADK and A2A and MCP on Google Cloud itself. And where is my screen? And this has like more than 10 steps. It's a click and click. So you could do this interactive tutorial with information. You don't need to code anything. It tells you what it will produce it, like this new young information. Like I was discussing in the network that we may need to communicate differently for this Gen Z era. So I see this example here that this information is much more oriented for Gen Z era and so on. Good. It has also this workflow agent explained code parts for it. It's a more than 2 hour long way to actually run it, this example for it. Try it out, regardless of your programming language, try it out. Good, thank you for having me here, and now let's see the magical questions for the room itself. Good, I will post my slides, because people always ask where will be my slides. I will post my slides on slideshare.net, hopefully today or at least or tomorrow, at least on Monday. And you can find me on Marton Kodok on LinkedIn and everywhere where you want to interact with me and so on. Good. Question number 1. Since agents are still new and prone to change, will those written today be easy to maintain? The question is very simple. Agents in the background, they have APIs or somehow tied to a business logic. So as long as those don't change, or you refresh every 5 years, your agents still will be there. What I see changing here is that the technology rapidly evolves. Like we have MCP, we know that it will be it will reshape the future, but then we have A2A, maybe there will be a new protocol as well. So I think that it's easier to shift if there is a new protocol coming, because you just ask Gemini that I have this in MCP, I need to be A2A ready with it, and it will do for you. And with agent mode and everything, it can actually automate all this over the night for you. So suppose that at 5 p.m. you read about some stuff, you could leave the office or leave your desk in a way that you leave a prompt which researches over the night, and it will create a solution for the morning. And when you sit next day at your laptop, you will be presented with the starting phase for that as well. Yeah. No more questions, Miss. I have 5 more minutes if you want, but if you want to grab lunch, you are free to go. And thank you for having me here, and have a good day.